Greetings. Thank you for tuning in to this 2021 primary election candidate forum for the Port of Olympia District 3. This forum is presented by the League of Women Voters of Thurston County, along with Thurston Community Media, and it is being electronically held due to COVID-19. Candidates, moderators, and timers are all joining using Zoom links with the help of TC Media. First, let me tell you a bit about the League of Women Voters. The League is proud to be a nonpartisan, neither supporting nor opposing candidates or political parties at any level of government, but always working on vital issues of concern to the members and the public. The League registers new voters, encourages them to be a voter, studies issues, and advocates for its positions with the legislature and other governmental bodies. Despite its name, the League is open to everyone over the age of 18. I am Donna Cobb from the League, and I will be moderating this forum. The timer will show you a sign when you have 30 seconds left, and then will show you a stop sign when your time is up. For candidates who are unable to see the signs, I will tell you when your time is up. The candidates for this position in alphabetical order are Melissa Denton, Amy Evans, and Joel Hansen. For this forum, each candidate will have the opportunity to answer a series of questions. The first candidate asked the question will have 2 minutes for a response, followed by a 1-minute response by each of the other candidates. I will alternate questions among the candidates, so each has a chance to start first. There will be 1 minute for closing statements at the end. For the following questions, the first respondent will have 2 minutes. I will ask Ms. Denton the following question first, and then Ms. Evans and Mr. Hansen. Melissa Denton, what are 3 duties of a port commissioner that you are looking forward to taking on?
I'm looking forward most to working to increase economic diversity and economic benefit for everybody in Thurston County. That's the mission of the port, and that's what I'm so excited about in this job. And I've got oodles of ideas, and I've been talking with lots of people and learning. There's way lots to learn, but I'm really enjoying it. So that's what I'm most excited about. The next thing I'm most excited about is communicating with the public, with the staff, with having the public communicate with us better. I feel very strongly that we have a bit of a shortcoming in that realm. I really think we should crowdsource ideas for things that we need to do and learn from the public what they're concerned about, and then do a really good job making sure everybody has the accurate facts, the basis for that information, that we're transparent about how we do things and what we do. So I'm really excited about communicating with the public and having the public communicate with us even better. We have a Citizens Advisory Council that is a really nice, great tool, and that is for the public to communicate, but it's a very narrow job that they do, which is so important, but it's not enough. I really want more of that. The next thing that I'm really excited about is interacting with all the other governmental and nonprofits and other organizations. We have a lot of people that we need to work with. There's huge tasks coming on us, the lake, all kinds of things are coming up, and we need to work hand in glove and be the ones in the room who call it out and make sure that everybody is working together and be kind. Thank you.
Amy Evans, would you like me to repeat the question?
Oh, thank you.
Okay, then go ahead. Thank you.
Sure. I agree with Melissa. I think crowdsourcing is a good term for collaboration, and with collaboration, more is possible. The 3 things I'm most looking forward to serving the community around would be environmental stewardship and improving water quality, revenue and job creation by using port resources efficiently, and community connections. And to me, that talks both to public access and also the transparency, accessibility, and accountability of being a port commissioner and that interface. So I think with all of those things, we can do more. So I'm excited to do that together with the community.
Thank you. Joel Hansen?
Yeah, I'm largely in agreement. The role of the port is economic development. I'm excited about bringing businesses to Thurston County, growing businesses in Thurston County, and growing jobs, living wage jobs. I also am interested in the role of the port in environmental restoration, in water quality, as Amy mentioned, as well as up and down the watershed, out into our working lands and forests, and out into Bud Bay as well. And then the third thing that I'm interested in, like the other candidates, is accountability and transparency, so that everybody in Thurston County knows what the port is doing for them.
Thank you. The following question that I'm going to ask is being asked because it's related to state law requirements. I'll ask Ms. Evans first, then Mr. Hansen, and then Ms. Denton. Amy Evans, are you, or in the recent past, have you been involved in projects with the port that provide you with a financial benefit, or do you belong to a group or association whose interests may conflict with your duties as a commissioner?
Good question for me. One of my concerns when I decided to run for this position is I have worked with the port on a development project in Tumwater. So one of the first things that I did was I spoke with the port's council about how I would need to recuse myself from anything involving that project. So that process became very clear. And so I have not had any financial gain from that project, but I could in the future. The project should be complete by the end of the year, and there is most likely not going to be additional voting that will happen that I would be a party to. But if I was, I would recuse myself from that and be transparent of that. I think that my real estate background, being that it's one of the four arms of the port, is a benefit overall. And this particular project, I would have a personal interest, and so I would recuse myself from voting.
Thank you. Joel Hansen.
No, I don't have any dealings with the port that bring any financial benefit to myself. My only current dealing with the port is that I sit on the port's Citizens Advisory Committee, but that is a volunteer position.
Okay, thank you. Melissa Denton.
I do not have any financial interests. I have not had any business dealings with the port. I am a private citizen who is involved and cares and is involved in a lot of different public organizations, but I am not involved in any kind of business with the port. I don't work for a company that has any business with the port. I never have. And I don't work, and I understand I'm the only client, the only candidate who has that particular distinction. Thank you.
Okay, I will ask Mr. Hansen the next question, followed by Ms. Denton and then Ms. Evans. Joel Hansen, provide and discuss a situation where you took part in forging a true compromise among various interest groups, and then you effectively implemented that compromise agreement.
I can tell you about a time when I was serving the city of Olympia on their Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. And also at the same time, I was the liaison to the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And there was something on the Parks and Rec work plan for the year as we were reviewing our work plan in I think it was my third year on the committee. And it was a Pathways to Parks program. It was a $10,000 that came into the Parks Department each year to help provide access to parks. But we hadn't addressed it in several years. It was part of the 2003 Parks and Sidewalks tax that voters passed. And I found that the reason we didn't address it is because it cost so much to build a sidewalk. It would, the plan the Park Department had was to let that fund build up for 10 years and then execute a project. But because I knew what the Transportation Department was doing around trails and neighborhood connectors, I realized $10,000 is a lot for doing a volunteer-led program to clean up trails and make walking paths. And so with the various departments, I suggested that we move that funding from the Parks Department to the Transportation Department. City Council and the General Government Committee agreed with that idea. And then in the end, when Council took that idea to the full council, they liked it so much they added another $100,000 and it became the Neighborhood Pathways program in Olympia. So it was an exciting project. So anyway, that was one example.
Thank you. Melissa Denton, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, thank you. I don't need you to. It turns out that my career has been about forging agreements in very difficult circumstances. I have helped families through adoptions, through custody fights, through child support issues, through divorces, through changes in things. That's what I do for a career. It's how I have made my living for a long time. So I work with the court system, with the parties, sometimes with other family members. I work in very difficult circumstances, forging agreements and making them stick and helping people make a whole new life out of what they've been in before. I think it's very applicable to what I will need to do with the port, because we've got difficulties there. And sometimes it's like a little bit of an unruly family. And I think that my skills will be very valuable there. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Evans.
I recently participated in the City of Olympia's One Community Work Group, which was a year-long process convening the community to determine how to respond to the homeless crisis and the individuals that are impacted. And that was such a pleasure because we met with faith communities, business owners, property owners, social service groups, the houseless community, and we took what we heard and we created an action plan with a three-pronged strategy for the city council on how to compassionately and effectively navigate where we're at as a community. And I learned so much from that with the diversity of opinions at the table and being a bridge, we can create better solutions.
Thank you. The next question will go first to Ms. Denton, then Ms. Evans, and then Mr. Hansen. Melissa Denton, are the port's current plans and strategies for addressing sea level rise adequate, or should additional steps be considered?
If they were adequate, that would be an inadequate thing. It's not appropriate for them to know everything that's going to happen and how to handle it. I know there's a whole lot more work to do. And there are different ways. People are conflicted about which ways are right to do. Is it right to do more filling? Is it right to build certain things that are public amenities right along the waterfront whenever we know there's going to be changes? We also have an issue with our port that it's built on fill. That isthmus where the water is, that's built on fill, which means it turns to liquid in earthquakes. So we, with sea rise, with earthquakes, with unusual tides, with all the things that are changing, no, I don't think that the plans are full. And also I want to remind you, we have an airport, we have other properties, we have a lot of work to do. And I'm really excited about science, and I'm really excited about technology, and I really look forward to working on that and helping to make a better solution. I have not studied all the details of what we're going to do. I've heard of the idea of raising some of the port property up by like 9 feet or 9 inches or something. And I don't know that that's right. I've also heard a lot of controversy about whether or not that's the right thing to do. We have giant warehouses. We have places where the ocean's going to be affected by what we do. The airport is another example of things that we can make changes that will suit our needs as the sea level rise happens. Another really important function of the port is emergency services. And we have that capacity. If I-5 goes out, if we have horrible earthquakes, we can get supplies in through our port. And so keeping things together and having plans, contingency plans, is vital for our community. And the port has a big job to do. We're going to do it right.
Great. Thank you. Amy Evans?
Well, if we ever needed an impetus to talk about climate change, 108-degree days definitely provides a good opportunity for that. I think sea level rise and environmental stewardship overall is something that in our community, we've kind of had a de facto no action, just based on our inability to come together and collaborate and build bridges to create solutions that can actually move forward. And so as far as what the port's doing to address sea level rise, I think that we can continue to collaborate with the other jurisdictions, our neighboring sovereign nations, to come up with actionable, equitable plans to address that.
Thank you. Joel Hansen?
To the question about sea level rise, no, we haven't done enough. I've never seen a plan that wasn't out of date by the time the ink was dry on the paper. So we always have to keep improving and always have to keep working on the issues with all the information that we have available to us. And as new information arises, we should adjust. And currently I'm on a subcommittee for the Port Citizens Advisory Committee looking at climate change and looking at our climate mitigation plan. So there's work being done. My preference as a candidate is that we sign on with our jurisdictional partners to the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan that Lacey, Olympia, Tumwater, and Thurston County have already signed on to. And then the port can encourage other jurisdictions like the school districts and the PUDs and others to join as well. So that's my preference, and there's much work to be done.
Thank you. The final question goes first to Ms. Evans, then Mr. Hansen, then Ms. Denton. Amy Evans, as an organization with the statutory economic development responsibilities within Thurston County, what could the port do to provide solutions to the homelessness crisis?
Well, one of the exciting initiatives that's being looked at right now is repurposing the Oyo Hotel, which is on port property in Tumwater, to provide transitional housing. I believe that's currently with the FFA, who would have to approve that use. I think that is a great opportunity for collaboration with the different jurisdictions and thinking outside the box of how we can utilize port property. I think that the port's involvement in creating container storage for the houseless community so that they have a place for their belongings, which is an issue that really impacts houseless individuals' abilities to move about and take care of their daily needs, was a great example of a compromise. And again, I think just that multi-jurisdictional approach with the Regional Housing Council that's now come together, we have the opportunity to work collaboratively as a community, and addressing homelessness is really going to require us to look both upstream and down, look at short-term and long-term solutions. And I'm excited about the port being a part of that conversation, because economic development requires a vibrant and healthy community for all people.
Thank you. Joel Hansen.
I agree. One of the things, though, that the port can do is the port owns property and has worked with developers to build housing, like the Westman Mill project. That project does not include any affordable housing. I would want the port to include mandated affordable housing in any future projects that they build in the downtown core. The port also has hosted a construction company that was building tiny homes for the mitigation site. That's something that we could continue to do and market those tiny homes to other jurisdictions around the area. I've also seen that in some parts of the country, they're 3D printing tiny homes. That is something that the port could be involved in, and could be barging tiny homes out to mitigation sites all around the Puget Sound.
Thank you. Melissa Denton?
I think I'm going to have you repeat the question and make sure I have it just right.
Sure. As an organization with statutory economic development responsibilities in Thurston County, what could the port do to provide solutions to the homelessness crisis?
I think the key is in the economic development part of the picture. As folks may not know, the port is not a general services government entity. It is government, it is business, and its mission is economic development. And so we have a little bit different of a role. And both of my colleagues here have described some of the initiatives that we're taking, which are really important. But I think the key is economic development. We need to be part and parcel and the leader of creating good paying jobs and a lot of jobs, a lot of development, so that people who don't have income, don't have houses, that they can get good jobs and make good money. The senior elder housing and our efforts, I think, could be better with the FAA. I think there's extra stuff we need to be doing that isn't happening yet. And they're building tiny homes in the warehouses. That space is being offered by the port, and Longshore members are doing the job.
Thank you. Okay, each candidate will now have an opportunity to provide a 1-minute closing statement. Mr. Hansen. Oh, there you
Got me now?
Yes.
My name is Joel Hansen. I'm running for Port Commissioner to grow Thurston County's economy and grow living wage jobs. I am running to restore our environment for future generations and bring transparency and accountability to the port so that every resident of Thurston County knows what the port does for them. I bring experience to these roles. I began my career as a licensed investment manager, and then I've grown several businesses here locally, from a vocational school to currently I am part of the fastest growing solar developer in the Northwest. I've served on boards and committees all throughout the community, but currently I'm on the Port Citizens Advisory Committee and the Tumwater Planning Commission. I'm also a member of the Thurston Thrives Coordinating Council. My campaign has been endorsed by the Thurston Democratic Women, by the Thurston Environmental Voters, and I have the sole endorsement of the largest public employees union in Thurston County, the Washington Federation of State Employees, Local 443.
Thank you. Ms. Denton. Oh, you're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
It was fighting me. Sorry, I was trying to use a space bar and it wasn't working. I'm Melissa Denton, and I'm running for Port Commissioner because I sincerely want to help the people of Thurston County and use these skills. It's like big old muscles that I've built up from all these years. I've run multiple businesses in our community for a long time. I know what it's like to run a business. I know what it's like to do an economic development at the base level. I've also hired a lot of people. And I think when you hire somebody for your Port Commissioner, which is what you're doing when you vote, you should hire the person with the most experience and the best qualifications. And I believe that is me. My legal experience is really helpful. My running a business is really helpful. My extensive work in lots of organizations is really helpful. I'm endorsed by a passel of really great people and organizations, but more importantly, you can see that I'm endorsed by my clients. If you research me, look at melissaforcommissioner.com, you'll see that I'm extremely well qualified and my clients have said great things about me.
Thank you. Ms. Evans?
I'm Amy Evans. I believe with collaboration, more is possible, more environmental stewardship, more revenue and job creation, and more community connections. So by being a bridge, I think that we can go from ideas to action, and I'm excited about that. I have nonpartisan support from Bill McGregor, current Port Commissioner, Cheryl Selby, Olympia Mayor, the Teamsters, Leetta Dahlhoff, Tumwater City Council member, and I'm excited to bring our community together and create action for us now and in the future.
Thank you. And thank you, Melissa Denton, Amy Evans, and Joel Hansen for participating in this forum. We also want to thank TC Media for producing this program. The forum will be available on TC Media channels, the League of Women Voters website, and as a YouTube video. We are glad you have taken the opportunity to view this forum. We remind you to vote in the primary election beginning July 14th and closing on August 3rd, 2021. Thank you.